So let's talk grades for the Animal Farm Focus Questions, Chapter 8 through 10, and the Summative Discussion. First of all, these are supposed to be from Chapters 8 through 10 when you answer these questions. So some of you pretty much repeated the exact same thing you did for previous focus questions, and you pulled things out of Chapter 5, out of Chapter 3. Well, that's a problem. The question asks, what are 3 specific things that Napoleon did to set himself apart from the other animals? These are Napoleon only. If you talked about things the pigs did, well, that's not answering this question. So you had to list at least 3 different ways that Napoleon set himself apart. You could have said things like all of the titles. You could have said things like he had the private apartment, that he ate alone, he never went out in public, they fired the gun on his birthday. There were a whole bunch of things that set Napoleon apart from everyone else. I tried to be liberal and accept anything that made sense, but at the same time, it had to talk about Napoleon alone, not all the other pigs. For the second part, you had to have direct quotes. That means don't paraphrase. That means don't just make up something and call it a quote, which some students did. I looked for page numbers. That's a pretty good clue as to where we can find these quotes on your paper, and I tried to check off all of your quotes. You had to have at least 2 of them, 3 points each. And some of you didn't answer number 3. 3 points are at stake. What's the necessity of the new roles in the farm surrounding Napoleon's leadership? So these roles were things like the guard dogs, the taste testers, the poet. All these other animals were given jobs to basically celebrate and protect Napoleon. It was different than before. It's not just a question asking about Napoleon's leadership or what's going on in the farm. It's about the specific roles. And do you think they were necessary? Spoiler alert, probably not, unless your only goal is to stay in power and control. Then, wait, there was a back? Yes, there was. So some of you got whatever you got out of 15 out of 30 because you didn't do the back. Yikes. And remember, we're still on chapters 8 through 10. So what's the only commandment left? Some of you wrote down random commandments or random changes to commandments. It was actually just that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And what are 3 ways the young pigs receive special treatment as they grow up? So this is not about how all pigs are treated compared to other animals. This is specific to the young pigs. So after Napoleon settled into power, specifically in chapters 8 through 10, what sort of advantages do their children get? Things like they get to go to school, they get to wear green ribbons on Sundays, they have the right-of-way, and other animals have to step out of the way when they're crossing. I tried to accept some other things, like they didn't have their rations cut, or they got milk and apples, because those are technically true. They apply to the young pigs, but that's not really from this chapter or what we were talking about. Did you have direct quotes to back this up? If you didn't, you lost 6 points. And the third part of this was answering the question, or summarizing, rather, the last scene of the book in your own words. Some of you didn't do this at all, and you lost 3 points. Next up, the summative discussion. No matter what your role is, you were supposed to turn in 9 questions and a minimum of 5 quotes. So whether you signed up for a character, a theme, or a support role, you still had to answer 6 questions about one particular character. And you had to have at least 3 quotes or pieces of evidence from the text to support that. Notice I was looking for a direct quote, not just, here's some stuff that happened vaguely in chapter 5. That's not evidence. So if you had those answers and those quotes, there were 2 points each for a total of 18 on the character side of things. For the theme, there were 3 questions, and I required 2 quotes, a total of 10 points. If you didn't answer any of these at all, you had to pick one of the themes, no matter what your role was. So a total of 28 points.